And Essam, in your part of the world, in Saudi, what do you see in terms of alternatives? Can you just debrief us a little bit, and how will be the future?
Well, I want to bring the conversation close to home and talk more about what I know best is the Saudi market and the transformation that is happening as we speak. I mean, it's coincidental that we're having this conference today, and Aramco IPO started yesterday. So there's massive changes that is happening, especially in Saudi Arabia, and any changes that happens in Saudi, it will have an effect, a side effect regionally. What we see in Saudi Arabia as far as the alternative investments, whether we're talking about private equity or VC or any of those other investment classes, we see the government stepping in as a catalyst and spearheading most of the investments, whether it's co-investing in the VC market, because as we speak, there is an ecosystem that is being shaped. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of emerging fund managers. I mean, if we talk about alternative investment in the region, it's quite nascent. I mean, it hasn't even completed 10 years. I mean, some people will argue, no, we've been around for quite some time. But, there is opportunities today, and there is opportunities tomorrow. Because as people start really looking at investments in the private equity or the VC, there is also opportunities in the secondary market which doesn't exist today in the region. I mean, we see as a firm that there are opportunities looming within the next few years as far as the secondary market, because we foresee some problems that could arise in the VC investment, because most of the VC is centered around technology. So if you cannot scale them up to an exit strategy, whether it's an IPO threshold, you're going to have a stagnated fund that needs to exit and bring some very good successful stories to its LP. So we see opportunities across the board. I mean, ourselves, we're in the middle of setting up several funds. One of them is in F&B, and you're going to ask me, where is F&B fits in all of this? No, we see a tailwind of double-digit growth that is happening within the F&B. Then we have entertainment. I mean, you're talking about a country that has been shut for almost 30, 40 years, and suddenly you're opening. So I see, there's more concerts that is happening in Saudi than is happening in the US. So, I mean, it's prudent upon, investment managers, fund managers, to really capitalize on it and bring this closer to its investor base and more or less showcase where are the growth and where are the yield that can happen. I mean, this is not talking about vital areas of investment, whether it's in technology-based companies or whether it's in healthcare or in education. I see a growing number of investors, regionally speaking, whether they're family offices or investment firms, really interested in more or less entering the Saudi market, because the market is growing exponentially, and you see the government really making an effort to make it much easier for people to come in and invest. I mean, tourism is one subject that for probably less than a year, it wasn't a topic of discussion. Mm-hmm. I mean, today, there's a lot of people that say, yeah, well, I'm going to get on a plane and get my visa and go into Saudi and enjoy the tourism. I mean, these are areas of investment. I mean, you're talking about the largest economy in the Middle East, literally in the Middle East, the largest capital market in the Middle East. For a long time, it's been shut to the outside world. And suddenly, you have an unlimited flow of opportunities that is happening.
So you don't see this tension between dry powder and opportunities
that
you see in the rest of the world?
Absolutely. There is plenty of dry powder. The question is really more or less having that proprietary deal flow that really you could bring it to your investors, showing that these are qualified opportunities, deals that can be harnessed, and you can structure these deals. So no, absolutely. I don't think it's just a matter. I think it's a matter of more or less generating the right deals and bringing it to your investors.
So could this interest, massive interest in private markets, be a bubble, or it's a really cultural and paradigm shift?
I'm not going to categorize it as a bubble, but you might have, some people, calling this a bubble because of the massive influx of, inexperienced fund managers. So it's more or less predicting what is going to happen later on. I mean, you can raise the fund, but can you really generate the deals? Can you execute upon your investment thesis? This is very important. I mean, we see a lot of failures happening around us. I mean, when I speak about, Saudi Arabia, I started my career as an IT, so I used to do peer-to-peer venture capital. I mean, when there was nothing in Saudi Arabia, people didn't know anything about. So we used to invest in startups in Saudi and in the region. I mean, we just wanted it as a bolt-on acquisition for our business. So it's different. I mean, things have changed completely. But I think, knowing what's happening in Saudi, especially with the Capital Market Authority, they are working diligently to really build the infrastructure for fund management through making it much more accessible for emerging fund managers to outsource their compliance, their CFO, to even have licensed fund administrator. I mean, you look at DIFC and ADGM, you have that infrastructure already. So as we are speaking, things are happening and things are in motion, and it's very exciting. Why? Because we know that the Saudi market is a very deep, strong market, and you can sustain growth as you move along.